So, disclaimer, this video may pee off a few people. Here's the thing about opinions though, that I don't see many people understanding in the online realm, is that other people can have different opinions to you and you can still like them. Other people can have different beliefs, like fundamentally different beliefs to you, and you can still respect them, be friends with them, learn from them. That's something I learned very early on, really early on in my life, is that you don't even have to like your teachers to get something out of them, to learn from them. But what happens in online realm is people get caught up on the fact that another person has a different opinion to you, or that you don't like another person, and you get hooked upon that and you miss the actual point that has something of value in it for you. So this is my opinion. And in this video I'll explain why I'm sharing it. Checking to put the microphone on. Every time I have to get up and check. Every time. I never know if I've done it or not. Hello love, it's jennibellie, welcome back to my channel. So this week I was busy making for you guys a junk journal tutorial, how to make a junk journal. And what became blatantly obvious is I need to make another video first. This video, because of conversations that I've been having with people around what a junk journal actually is. And this opinion is gonna maybe make me unpopular, but that's okay. I've got to share it because it's something I'm quite passionate about, is helping people get out of certain mindsets that they might be stuck within their creativity, especially around supplies and having supplies. You guys that have followed me for a while know this. So many years ago I did a video called Smashbook, Scrapbook, something, I don't know what's the difference between all these kind of different books, and it was a few years ago now. So I thought this needed addressing, especially seeing as since then things have changed in our art journaling community, and I'm going to explain what has changed, but I'm also going to explain what really is a junk journal, what is a glue book, what is an altered book. I'm going to go through them, and now I'll explain why I'm going through them as I go through them. As we are in a junk journaling vibe though, this week and next week, what I thought would be fun is to have a giveaway for you guys on here. So my most recent workshop is actually a junk journaling workshop called Remedies. So I'm going to give away that class this week and next week, and I'll speak more on that later on how you can enter, but some extra fun, so make sure you enter that. So this whole thing is all about junk journaling and what really is junk journaling. Now, my definition of junk journaling is journaling with junk. I know that isn't a revelation, or doesn't sound like a revelation, but the whole process has become a little distorted as to what I know junk journaling to be. Now, hands up, I am an old journaler. I've been doing this for many years, and I've been doing it online since there wasn't many people sharing this stuff. So some of my definitions may be old lady like, because I'm an old lady, in that I'm stubborn and I'm set in my ways, and a junk journal to me is to journal with junk. Now what's happened more recently is the trend of buying things to make a junk journal, kits and things like that. Now I'm not throwing shade, I really am not, at any artist that is selling kits to make for junk journals. I myself have an Etsy shop and I myself sell digital products, so I'm not throwing shade, because that's how some artists make their money and that's important, and they are sharing things that are beautiful, often very well put together. So you know, I'm not being mean, but to me what they are sharing is what we used to call, because a lot of them very vintage and ephemera looking, and back in the day we used to call them shabby chic journals. Some of you may remember that with me. Or paper bag journals that we turn into shabby chic journals. Some of you remember that trend with me as well. Now to me, shabby chic is a style, it's a theme, it's a genre, like a steampunk journal is. But it doesn't automatically make it a junk journal, because a junk journal is the material that you use to create the journal, meaning junk mail, cardboard, kitchen packaging, any kind of junk, actual things that you would throw in the bin. Now I want to make it clear here that junk to me does not automatically mean supplies you've had in your studio for a long time. They're just supplies. It doesn't mean ephemera. I'm a collector of ephemera, like ledgers and postcards and very old things, paper things. They to me are supplies. They are not junk just because they are old. For instance, I've got this in front of me here. This is scraps of paper. I throw away nothing. So I make another sheet of paper out of my papers and I just stitch them together with the sewing machine, and then I keep the paper long after I've been cutting at it. I will use every scrap of this paper. Do I think that this is junk? No. These scrap pieces of paper are not junk just because they are small leftover scrap pieces of paper. Because I'll still use them. What junk is things that you will literally throw in the bin had you not got any use for them. Such as making a junk journal. And if you are new to all of this, it may be a little bit confusing, because what you see being shown as junk journals now is often things that aren't from the bin. They are nice new things that have been put together, and they're being called a junk journal, which is fine, but at the same time it's very confusing for some people, and it also gives the impression to some people that you need to have these things in order to make a junk journal. And you guys know I don't adhere to that idea that you need certain things to be creative, because stuff doesn't make you creative. Stuff is just stuff. Supplies are just tools. They aren't being creative for you. Creativity is you actually making something. So does your tools really matter that much in that case? No, it doesn't. Now, some people may consider my junk journal more of an art journal, because I paint in my junk journal. Incidentally, I didn't paint this. This is the waste paint that goes on my desk that I collect on paper. I protect my desk with a sheet of paper, as many people do, and I collect the paint, the waste paint, and it gets used in my junk journals. And I'll show you all about that in next week's video. So I'm rather arty in my junk journals, as I showed you in my video 2 weeks ago that I titled How I Junk Journal, when I showed you 2 weeks of junk journaling compiled into one video. And some people may consider that more art journal, because what they consider to be, or what is generally considered to be junk journaling now, is sticking things into a journal. To me, that is a glue book. So we're going to go around all these themes of things. When I searched for junk journal, what came up for me was altered books, Smashbooks, and brand new beautifully made journals, but none of which are junk journals. So altered books to me are a book that is obviously usually a vintage book that you then take apart, re-put together and create it into a journal. That to me is not a junk journal either, because, as I said, just because something is old or you recycled something, it doesn't make it automatically junk. If you alter a book, to me it's an altered book. So it doesn't automatically make it a junk journal to me just because you made it out of something that could be considered something else, you know, not a journal, or something old, because you wouldn't have thrown it away. It's still a supply. If it's a supply, it isn't junk. And other people using junk journaling to say smashbooking. Now, smashbooking to me is when you smash in memorabilia and things in a free-forming kind of way that is less restrictive than scrapbooking. So scrapbooking is more, you are planning your layouts more and you are using photos. Smashbooking can have photos, but if you're just making pages just full of photos, then that's more scrapbooking to me. Smashbooking is where, well, you can look at my original smashbooking video, or Smashbook art journal, scrapbook, what's the difference? You can look at that if you want to. But a smashbook is made out of scrapbooking supplies as the basis, so 12 by 12 sheets of cardstock or paper and things like that, and you may use decorative supplies from your scrapbooking stash to put things in as well, or you can just stick in things that are more about it's memorabilia kind of stuff to me. Now I want to reiterate, this is all my opinion. This is all my opinion, and as I said at the beginning, we can have a difference of opinion and we can still like one another, and we can give each other that benefit of the doubt on the internet. And I know you can, because you're an intelligent person, and unfortunately not all people on the internet are like you. So some people take offense at things and that you say something different to what I think, and it's crazy the level of stuff that I've witnessed, and you probably have as well, you know, on Facebook. If somebody posts something, some people can take it really personally, like it's about them, and it isn't. It's somebody else's opinion, has nothing to do with you 99.9% of the time. But people tend to take things personally, and something I learned very early on is that you don't even have to like your teachers to learn from them. And I see this being a problem online, is if somebody else has a different opinion, you don't like them, or if you don't like them for whatever other reason, you won't see past it. You'll only look at the fact that you don't agree with them or you don't like them, and won't actually look at what they may be offering that's of value to you. So I'm not trying to rustle any feathers, and I'm not trying to be mean or say anybody else is doing it wrong, because I still mash up these different things all of the time. As I said, my junk journal looks very arty. A couple of weeks ago I shared my art journaling from desk scraps video, where I was literally pulling pieces of scraps off of my desk, peeling them up under layers of paint that have been put on top, and sticking them down into my journal to make an art journal page. Now, had I done that in my junk journal, it would kind of be more suiting to my junk journal because it was all scrap stuff. But I actually did it in my written daily journal. So I'm doing junk journaling style on an art journal page in my written journal. That's just how we are as creatives. We mash up the style. My junk journal has a picture of me in it, but it's not a scrapbook page. Here I have a piece of collage in it that, again, I don't consider junk, because this piece of collage, although it was out of a magazine or whatever, so technically junk, what I consider as junk in a magazine, this might help kind of clear the lines, is I'll get a magazine and I will go through and pull out every image that I will use. That's supply, and then the rest of it is junk. So I might use the rest of it as background on an art journal page, or background on my junk journal, or use it just as I'm painting to put the leftover paint on, or to protect the edges of my journal, you know, put it behind the next page so it can gather up the paint from the page and not ruin the rest of my journal. I needed a breath then, sorry. So I don't consider that image junk, because I would use it in something. This though, this pocket that I've created here, was from a tissue box. That's the full side of a tissue box, you know, where tissues come out the top, and that side I just trimmed it down and stuck this over it to cover it so you couldn't really tell that it was a tissue box, and I made a pocket out of it. So that's junk, because that literally was going in the bin. The rest of it went in the bin. I don't need another tissue box. I had plenty in my stash. So I want to make it clear that although I'm sharing these definitions, I'm not saying you have to stick rigidly within this thing and that's the only way you can do that journaling. That isn't what it is. What I'm doing, especially if you're just in your studio like creating, does it matter if you even give it a name? No, of course it doesn't. So just because I'm giving definitions here, I don't want anybody to get too hooked up in the comments that I'm being really like, you know, robotic or, you know, dictatory in how these things are. I'm not. What I'm sharing is these definitions so that, especially for those of you that are new, but also because I think it's important as people that share, as people that teach, I think it's important for us to be able to say to you what it is we're doing. Call me old-fashioned, but I think a teacher should know what they're talking about and have a clear understanding of the different processes that go into each of these different styles of journaling. Because somebody that is coming across and looking for art journaling may not necessarily be bothered in Smashbooking, and somebody that is all about a Gluebook may not care about scrapbooking or whatever it is. And the truth is, all of these different approaches do have rules, loosely defined rules, but kind of like a scrapbook, if you're into scrapbooking, you know there's a lot to learn in that genre. And if somebody is kind of just mushing everything together, which again is fine if you are just being creative and enjoying it, and you know that's what we all do and I encourage, but if you want to learn the process and the things that there are to learn in that area, there is so much, you know. And a lot of people now have come across from scrapbooking, and that's how you get into, it's kind of like the gateway drug. You get into art journaling via that way, and then you discover mixed media, and things then kind of open up, is what I've heard generally over the years, is that you then release those rules that you learnt in scrapbooking, but you still have learnt those basic skills such as composition and colour and layers and everything like that in that other genre. So especially for those of us that add to the conversation that other people listen to, I think it's important that we know what we're talking about. But generally in our studios, when we're having fun, does any of this matter? No, it doesn't. So at the same time, it's a flip. I don't want you to think like I'm being ultra rigid here, But I also, as I say, I'm an old lady in the online art journaling community, and I have certain beliefs of how certain things are, especially a junk journal, because I don't want anybody to think that they have to buy stuff to make a junk journal. The whole point is that it's out of trash. I'm a traditionalist in that way, but if you want to make a junk journal out of brand new beautiful supplies, I'm not saying anything against that. Go for it. But when you're sharing information with other people, be mindful that they might not understand then. And here's the thing that I know for sure, having shown people over the years stuff. We like stuff. We like our art supplies. And even if you're not saying you need this supply, just someone seeing it can make them want it. I know I'm guilty of this as well. You see something and it's a new juicy supply and we want new juicy supplies. And so yeah, for that reason I try, you'll notice I don't like do hauls and things like that on my channel. I try not to, but at the same time I'm human. Yeah, I have a link below with all my Amazon favourite supplies, because anybody that is doing this is gonna have a list of their favourite supplies. It's human. But at the same time I try not to say you need this and you need that. You can't do this and not have your favourite supplies, but I always try to say use what you've got, which can make, sometimes like in my classes, frustrating for certain people that want exactly what I have. But to me it doesn't matter what scrapbooking paper you have, it doesn't matter what acrylic you have, it doesn't matter what embellishments you have. All that stuff to me does is make your stuff unique, because you've picked something else. You picked something that's, you know, more in alignment with your own tastes rather than mine or anybody else's that you're looking at, and so yours isn't gonna look exactly like theirs, and that is kind of more I'm sorry, it's just more important to me. It's better, I think, and it shows your creativity more rather than just being a carbon copy, which again, not throwing shade on those that offer things to make junk journals with, but to me the definition of a junk journal is not the same thing. So I'll go through my definitions one last time as a quick roundup, quick fire round. So art journal is something that you create your art in with any supplies at all. It can be junk, it can be scrap, it can be brand new, and you make actual art in it using art media. Any kind of media, but art media. A junk journal is made out of junk. One last time, that's the last time I'll say it. This is the last time I'll say it. It's made out of junk that you would throw away. Literally stuff you would throw away. That does not include things that are in your studio that have been knocking around for a while, so you call them junk. They're just supplies that at one point you will use, and yes, you can still use them in your junk journal, but the material, the thing that the journal is made out of, is pure junk. So although I have a healthy supply of journals in my studio, I'm gonna have to go into my journal trunks to give you guys examples of all of these different kinds of journals I'm talking about. So you better appreciate this, because my journal trunks are everywhere. They are scattered in every single little place I can find to put them. Some are out and about where I can get to them. Mainly not. The ones I want to get to though are under here. In we go. Look at all this stuff. Please, please, please contain the journals I want. this is made out of tissue boxes, although I did use some paper on the cover, and this is tissue boxes. And even this is a junk journal here because the inners are catalogue, or you know, some sort of little leaflet or something like that. I couldn't think of the word. Leaflet. And I just painted the whole thing pink. And the boards are junk, and even the paper that's hasn't worn well with age. You can tell it's like newspaper paper. It's really thin, and I just used a really crappy tape binding on it. And of course, my original greeting card journal tutorials that I did years ago, and my cereal box journal, really the original cereal box journal tutorial. But again, I like the greetings cards and things like that, so I don't necessarily consider that entirely junk. Now these are all old Christmas cards, so that I may consider, you know, kind of junk, because what would you do with, you're not going to save every year's worth of Christmas cards, but images like this from birthday cards and things like that, I would consider that a supply. Much like these I wouldn't consider them junk journals, even though particularly this one I made with just scraps. This is scraps off of a belt, this is a scrap piece of leather from another project, but you know, I used regular paper on the inside. I did also use some ephemera. And this is an ephemera. This is an old postcard I made into a little travel journal, but I wouldn't consider them junk journals. Glue book. A glue book can be any kind of book that you like. It can be anything. A bought journal, a made journal, and what you do in it is you just stick in images. Just purely put in images, usually very fully from top to bottom. That is what a glue book is. So I couldn't find the glue book I wanted to share with you guys out of my journal trunk, so I'm just going to share with you some pages that are in my regular journaling that are pretty similar to glue books, except you'll see two editions on these pages, paint and pen. I add a little bit in, but I try to keep it in the theme of the glue book, so it's images. And there's another one, and this is more of a full page, but paint and pen is really the only edition that I add to these pages that I still consider quite, oh no, I've got a bit of stamping here as well, but this is kind of glue booky in essence. An altered book is a book that was pre-existing as something that you would read or look at the pictures of, and you have remade it into something. Little golden books, I've noticed, is something that is being thrown around a lot lately as well, in terms of altered books. To me, again, they are just altered books. Smashbook is a book usually made out of quite nice supplies that you smash your stuff. Memorabilia stuff, ticket stubs, travel tickets, receipts, you know, things that gather that you don't know where else to put generally, and so you put it into a Smashbook. Mine has also a lot of artwork from followers and friends and postcards and pen pal stuff and things like that in it. This is my current Smashbook. As you can tell, I haven't been smashing for a while. I have, maybe this is my third or fourth Smashbook. This is an older one that I believe I have a flip for somewhere on my channel. You get chunky. But I've just been going through some of my regular everyday journals, and what I tend to do now for Smashbooking is just stick them in. You know, I'm just looking through and I just tend to stick things in my regular everyday journal. If I get something or if I go somewhere, I just stick them in. And that's a valid way of Smashbooking as well, is just doing it in a regular book. It doesn't have to be in one that's created with scrapbooking supplies. I made this journal. I think I've made all of my Smashbooks. I think the first one might have been a binder, but I just make them with any kind of scrapbooking supply, and I don't particularly try not to show you certain things that might not be from me to show you. This is a paper doll, Mary Flower, made of me. Isn't that fun? But I don't particularly spend time making them look pretty. Okay, I literally just Smashbook. There are some pages in my older Smashbooks that I might have spent some time on. I think I even did some videos for some. Let me see if I can find some. Yeah, this one was a video I did, ooh man, years ago, absolute years ago, and it's with more scrapbookily supplies and more of in a scrapbooking way. But yeah, generally I just smash things in. Just smash them right in. Scrapbooking is kind of like the grown-up version of Smashbooking, where you use all of the beautiful scrapbooking supplies that are on offer and you scrapbook your memories in beautiful layouts and arrangements that are visually appealing to the eye, for your family to look back on in generations to come. So after all that, there is no traditional scrapbook in here. They're in other places that I am not going to go looking for. So I'm just going to show you what I kind of did for scrapbooks. This is more traditional because it's kind of like 6x6 than an actual scrapbook. Let me just find pages that don't have other people on them. There we go. I didn't really do the scrapbooking thing. I didn't do the beautiful layouts and stuff. I always, and as you'll see, is I very rarely even finish scrapbooks because I have little patience with it. You see, I just put photos in the back ready to be done, and these ones are just literally the outline because at this point I've gotten fed up. So what I tended to do was more of these little books that are like little kits that you get. Yeah, no. And even then, or ones like this where you make them out of 12x12 sheets, you know. But I didn't really ever do the traditional. There's no traditional scrapbook in this journal, but you guys, you know, I know you know what a scrapbook is at this point. So I just realised I don't need to have made every single example that I show you. So this is a scrapbooking book from very old, 2006, I just looked. It contains a CD-ROM. So these are more traditional scrapbooking pages. Since then, more modern scrapbooking includes mixed media. It's less structured than this. It contains more paint, more inks, more sprays, more mixed media, actual media going off in the page, so that it isn't as cut lines like traditional scrapbooking is. I don't have more modern scrapbooking books to show you because I haven't bought any for a very long time. This one is a year later though, and I did see that this has some watercolour and ink in it, and this has more modelling paste, so it, you know, mixed media encroached on scrapbooking in the last decade, making it a lot more a combination. And also here's an altered book that I just thought I'd show you, because altered books in themselves can be their own form of art. It's book art, and I haven't really covered that so much in this video because I'm assuming that you're going to use altered books as journals. We're journalers, but you can do it just to create a piece of artwork in itself that is just created out of a book. So those are my definitions, but again, you don't need to stick to them. You can do them all in the same place if you want. I often do, but what I am aware of is the differences, so that when I share those differences, especially with students, they are getting that particular thing that I've said it is. So my Remedies Junk Journal class is a journal that we make out of junk. However, it is prettier. Like on the front, I have made it with actual supplies to make it pretty. But the actual inners of the journals, the folios as we call them in the class, are made out of junk. So, to the giveaway. Let's wrap it up and get on with the giveaway, since I'm talking about the Remedies class. So all you need to do to enter the giveaway is to subscribe to this channel, which I assume you already are because you're here, like this video and leave a comment letting me know that you have done that. I will choose a winner in 1 week for this spot on the class, and I will do another giveaway next week and pick the person a week after. Okay, so if you're coming to this video in the future, I am sorry, it is closed. Or if you just want to get the class without entering the giveaway, I currently have mates rates offer on my artist community journal workshops, which is the most massive sale I have ever had, and I did that as soon as the pandemic hit. So the Remedies class is currently knocked down quite a lot in price. So if you want to bag a bargain, you can get it now. And if you still want to enter this giveaway, but you want the class now, so you go off and purchase the class, what I will do is just let you into any other class you want. I have other bookbinding classes called the Wisdom Journal class, or the Poster Journal class, or I have a class on raw intuitive journaling, or I have a class on how to rock your online shop, or I have a class on creative goal journaling, or I have a creative resistance remedy class to get rid of the gremlins and the resistance and the blocks that we deal with. Okay, so there's lots to choose from on journal workshops, and all of them are currently slashed in price. There's other classes besides that, they're just ones that I can think of off of the top of my head. So if you want to enter this giveaway, you can enter this giveaway, and if you win it, you'll get access to any of those other classes that you decide you want instead. But I am going to do a junk journal tutorial next week, but it's a beginner's one. So if you want a more elaborate journal to make, and the Remedies class isn't just about junk journaling. Most of my classes are dual, in that they have a surface, here's a project we are making, here's a journal we are making, like the Wisdom Journal class, etc. But they have behind them meanings. So the Remedy class is about making what we call an emotional directory. So inside there are remedy folios, which we come to. It's a very complex class because it's dealing with emotions. There is no quick way for me to surmise what it's about, but those of you that are in the class have gotten a new video from me this week, and you'll be getting a new video from me next week as well, in the classroom. So I'll put a link below to the Remedies Junk Journal workshop, but all classes are on journal workshops, so you can go and have a look, and you can enter this giveaway by subscribing, which I assume you have, liking and commenting and letting me know that you've done that, and then I'll come by next Friday and pick someone, and I'll just comment in the comments below. So make sure you check on YouTube. This is a YouTube giveaway, so make sure you check on YouTube to see if you've won. So I shall see you next week with a junk journal making tutorial for everybody. Free, sturdy journal. that we can all make together, no matter what you have. Much love, everybody. Have an awesome week.